Whew. Okay, g'day everyone. Welcome back to my little travel channel, my little van life travel channel, Tropical Zoom. I'm going to do something a little bit different today, something that I haven't done before. It's probably something that I should have covered before in my earlier videos, but we've had this van for 3 years now. We've been on a lot of little trips up and down the coast, some weekends, some 2-3 weekers, and we've absolutely loved it. I think at about now, I think we've actually worked out what to take, what not to take, and where to store everything. So I'm going to give you a bit of a run through on what I pack, where I pack it and why I pack it, and what I do pack and what I don't pack. People often ask me, can you fit everything in your van? And my answer to that is, with this little van, the RM20.5 Jayco Conquest, I think that you can fit everything that you need in it, but may not necessarily everything that you want. We've made a couple of little sacrifices, but it's still made our life on the road very comfortable. I'd still prefer this little motorhome over a caravan. So yeah, let's get into it. Give you a little run through on our bits and pieces. Okay, now the first cupboard I want to show you, I'm going to work around in a clockwise direction, but I'm going to start at this little guy here. This is my favourite cupboard. This is my Gadget cupboard. Now I've got all the essentials. First up, you'll see my Ryobi 18-volt drill and driver. I always have these things. You never know when you're going to need little jobs around the van. I also double up under my seat in the front there. I've got an attachment that attaches to my jack and my wheel hub, so I can raise and lower the cab if I get a flat tyre, hope I never do, with this little drill and driver set. Okay, they're both 4 amp 18 volt lithium batteries, which is a lot of power. This is probably one of my favourite gadgets and probably my most recent one, and I didn't actually buy this intentionally for my little motorhome, but we've had a few blackouts here down the south coast of New South Wales, and my wife rang me there one time. I was on my way back from the Southern Highlands, telling me, you wouldn't believe it, there's another blackout again. So I nipped into Bunnings. Now I'm just going to have to do this one-handed. Here is my 36 volt battery, 6 amp, and I use this for my electric lawnmower. I'll just put that over there for a second. And this little guy I picked up from Bunnings for $150. This is a an inverter, so it converts the 36 volt battery power into 240 volt. And I actually came home with my fingers crossed, and we ran our large TV. Actually, I've got a power board that a 4-point power board, and I've got my TV, my large screen TV on it. I've got my internet modem. I've got my Hubble, which is like makes a dumb TV a smart TV, and I've also got my phone that I plug in. And this little guy, I plugged the power board straight into here, and it ran my TV and all the other gadgets for about 5.5 hours. And luckily for me, I've actually got 2 of these 6 amp batteries, so I knew that I've got 10 hours worth of power. So that was really good, and I thought I'll leave it in the motorhome because it's easy to get when we have a power outage. But when I'm away off the grid, and I do the occasional weekend off the grid, I can run my TV, I can charge my phones, charge my laptops. I can actually use my little portable washing machine that I've got under the seat there without having to worry about draining the power on my one deep cycle battery. So that saves any concern there. And I usually just leave my deep cycle battery just to run my lights, you know, my water pump and any other things in and around the van. So that's sort of, it's like having a second battery in the van, and you don't have to worry about using too much power. Yes, that's pretty cool. So that's one of my favourite new gadgets. I'll put this over here for now, and we'll continue on. Now, this is another little guy that I've loved. I think I did a video on this recently. That's my, what do you call it, Ninja. It's a little blender. You do not need mains power. You just plug it up with you just plug it in with a USB-C, and it'll charge up. And I think you'll get about 10 smoothies out of it. Oh, that wasn't the one I was actually going to show you. That was in the way of my other favourite little gadget. You know what it is. There's my coffee jug and the little temperature gauge, and I've got this guy. This is fantastic. I did a review on my latest coffee machine that's since broke. It was my little DeLonghi machine, but it was a 240 volt, and I think it actually died from underuse. Okay, this is my little Bellman coffee machine, and the beauty of this is that it runs entirely on steam power. You don't need any battery power or 240 power at all. And basically, I'll give you a quick run through. You fill this little container half up with water. You've got your little coffee gadget here, coffee up there. You can put up to enough coffee for 5 people in there, or if you're only having 3, or if you're only having 1 person having coffee, you just put these extra little lids in. Once you've got the coffee on, you squeeze it down with your little compressor, whatever that's called, whack the handle on, and then you turn the heat on. I won't make a coffee now because it'll take too long, but basically you watch this little gauge here. When the gauge hits 2, that means there's enough steam power in there to start compressing the coffee, and you'll get a nice little grind out this little part here. You turn it on, you get your coffee out here, you fill your cup up, and then from there you turn this little handle here, and that opens up the milk frother, so you have nice frothy milk. So it's actually exactly the same as a U-Butte coffee machine, but you can have it off the grid, which is pretty cool for me. I like pulling up at boat ramps and harbours and beaches and just making myself a coffee and sitting back and enjoying the show. Okay, so my other little gadgets, and you've probably seen these before in earlier videos, is my Ryobi lantern, 330 lumens. It brights up the spot if you're going down the beach. And also, especially when I'm off the grid up north, I've got my little Ryobi fan, little 2-speed fan. I've got 2 little Ryobi batteries, and they cover all the tools. So fan on, I've got high power and low power. And even in the middle of summer, they last a long time. This little fan here on low power, I've got a 4 amper. After 12 hours, I lose 1 little light. So you can actually go away for 4 days and have this on for 12 hours at a time. And it's the same with the lantern. I lose 1 bar of power for 12 hours of usage. It's got a high and low beam as well. My final little gadget in this cupboard is this nice little tyre inflator. Again, Ryobi. I should be sponsored by Ryobi, shouldn't I? But with a little 4 amp battery, I find that gives me plenty of power, and it pumps my tyres up. My PSI on my tyres are a maximum of 65 for travelling, and I easily top these up. Sometimes I'll go down to 60 and I'll top them up to 65 without any drama whatsoever. And as I'm pumping them up, you can see the little gauge. It's probably a little bit too bright at the moment, but that little gauge will show you the tyre pressure. Alright, so that's the gadget cupboard. I've got a 240 volt kettle there as well. That's my gadget cupboard, done and dusted. Let's move along. Okay, the next cupboard is the one that's under my lounge here. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've done the right thing here. I've left this van fully stowed. I mean, I could empty it right out and make it look immaculate and make everyone think, what a beautiful looking van, but then that'd be having myself on and having you guys on, and that's not what I want to do. I want to show you what it's like when you're living in it. So as you can see, if I do a little skirt around, I've got my little beach chairs there, I've got my nice camping recliners there, a few pillows here and there, and I've got a few bits and pieces around the kitchen. I've got to put them back in the cupboard. Okay, so it's the lived-in look, but when you're living in a van, you get the lived-in look, so let's be real. All right, now, this cupboard here, you can access by lifting the lounge cushion up, or by accessing it outside. I'm going to open it from here because it's easier to see what's in it from above. So, I just take the rear lounge cushion off, I lift this seat cushion up, and there's just enough room to lift up here. Now this is a bit of a junk cupboard. Now as you can see in here, I've got my extension 240 volt power line. I've got my water hose from the tap to the side of the van. I've got my drain down here. I've got my little they're my side screens here and here. It's a bit messy for the awning. They give us their bit of privacy when we've got the awning set up. Underneath there, way down there, you can see my gas canisters for my little barbecue. There's, in this little black box, is my battery, my 100 amp battery. And in here, I don't actually put anything here. I don't like shoving any bits and pieces in here with the electrics, but that's my my J hub, they call it. It's just basically running all the power to in and around the van. I've also got an assortment of tent pegs in here and a few extra ropes and bits and pieces. And right underneath, it's right underneath all these tiles, I've got a little toolbox with screws and silicone and duct tape, just in case I ever get a leak or a cracked window, or if any little screw runs loose. I've got an assortment of screws that I can just tighten any door or drawer or anything else that comes undone. Okay, now as I mentioned before, I've got my camping recliners here. I won't go into the front cab, that's a whole different story. Little compartment on top of the driver's cab. Now to do that, I have to lower my bed. So I turn my bed switch to the down, and my bed, this is like a little magic trick, lowers all the way down to the dining table. And that's what I love about this van. 2 rooms become 1. The bedroom becomes the dining room and lounge room, and then at night you just press this button and the bed goes back up again. Alrighty, now this is the Luton. This is where I put a lot of my big things. Okay, so up inside the Luton here, I've taken a few things out. I've got my little foldable dining table, which take that down to the beach with us. I've got my larger table. That's what that becomes our dining table, which we eat off. Now I didn't take this out. I've got 2 paddle boards, 2 inflatable paddle boards, and 1 paddleboard pump. So they take up almost half the room in this Luton, but I absolutely love the paddle boards. Whenever I go away on holidays, I love the water and love playing in the water. And I do love my fiberglass board, but you can't put them on the roof here because it's too high, and you can't put them inside because there's not enough room. So I've had to compromise and get 2 little self-inflating paddle boards. Now I did have originally my Weber Q barbecue, which I loved, but it used to sit on the floor and it was a real trip hazard, and I've already got a few things on the floor, so we bought this little guy. This is just a double butane burner barbecue. I love this little casserole dish, and I also love the little flat dish. I often do bacon and eggs on this, and most of the time I take the flat dish off and put my little aluminium fry pan on that, or my steel fry pan on that, and cook bacon and eggs. And my wife has made a lovely chicken laksa in the casserole dish, and it just pops into this nice little bag. And unlike the little Weber Q, this fits snugly up inside my little Luton area. He just sits on top of the tables nicely just there. Okay, what's this guy? This is my little clothesline, a little foldable clothesline. So basically, yeah, paddleboards, paddleboard pump, barbecue, tables and clothesline. And here is where I store all my tent poles and my anti-flat bars for the awning. With a little room that I've got remaining, I just pack this with our pillows. Because one thing with the bed, and you can still access these when the bed's up, but I just pop the pillows up in here, and that gets them out of the way for the cabin. Alright. And then this little towel goes over. I'll put the little towel over the bars here just to stop them from rattling around when we're driving. Sorry, turn the bed switch on again, push the up button, and the bed goes up. That wasn't actually my original switch. The original Jayco switches had a bit of an issue with them, and it allows the bed to go all the way down to the seats, whereas the previous one didn't. And going all the way down to the seats meant that it was a lot easier just to jump in and out of bed. So there's a little button underneath the table here. You can probably see my big toe just touching it now. I push that and the table goes up. All right, so I won't put the backing on here. I'll lift this up. There you will see our water tank and our hot water heater, and there you'll see our water pump and valves to close everything off. There's a little filter down here that every now and again, if your kitchen tap or bathroom tap tends to splutter a bit, sometimes it's because this little filter down here has gunk in it, and you just unscrew it, get the gunk. It might be a bit of leaf or any sort of foreign material, chuck it out, give it a hose out and put it back in. But I don't put anything really in here. I mean, it's 95% full as it is, and I think anything could sort of vibrate and get stuck down there somewhere, and could be a bit of a headache getting out. So nothing really goes under here. Alrighty, I'll pop the cushion back down again and put the backing back on. A little bit of work getting in and around things, but that's what it's all about. This is my little washing machine. Now I was cheating. This was actually out in the garage because I was playing around with it to see if my little inverter would run it, the little Ryobi inverter, and it does. But this also lives up in the Luton. It just it just pops up. It's a collapsible washing machine, and it's been really good. It was only a little $50 one on eBay, but I do a basically my shorts, my undies, my t-shirt and my socks, throw them in, fill it up to about 5 litres, push the button, and it runs for about 10 minutes, has a little spin dry thing on it, and then take them out, and then I do Deb's clothes as well. It doesn't do towels, it's not big enough for towels, but it saves us trips to the laundry for half of our stuff, or 3/4 of our stuff, and just collapses down to that, which then gets thrown up into the Luton up there. Whew. It's funny, you know, we've got 2 sets of chairs. We've got these Tommy, I think they're called Tommy Bahama beach chairs, and they're so comfortable. What I like about these is that they recline right back, so you can really kick back and have a snooze on the beach, and they'll go right back to nearly 180 degrees. But we've also got the recliner chairs at the front, and I did say to Debbie one time, you know what, we could probably do away with one of these sets of chairs. If we just had the Tommy Bahamas, we could whack them behind the seats and give us more room. As you can see who won the argument and who didn't. So we've got 4 chairs now, beach chairs and recliners. If you were stuck on room, I reckon I could push the point and just get away with having these little Bahama chairs. They also convert into a little backpack, which is really cool. They've got a little compartment in the back. I'll drag one out. So you can see here, there's little shoulder straps, a little locking strap, and on the back here, that's your pillow that goes in here, but you've got 2 little compartments for your towel and sunblock and mobile phone, or whatever else you want to take with you down to the beach. I've also got, but it's in the garage, my little gazebo, little folding gazebo that also slips nicely underneath the table here. Yes, all right, so I'll shove that back and we'll move on to the next couple. We're up to the kitchen now. Kitchen, knives, forks, spoons. And here's all my little tongs, barbecue scrapers, Brockers, cups and coffee mugs. Down here is my bowls, plates, cups, cling wrap, baking paper, foil. Down here I've just got my pots and pans. I've basically got 2 of each, one large saucepan, one small saucepan, one large fry pan, one small fry pan, and a few garbage bags at the back. This little cupboard, I'm about to sneeze, my So Goods, a little bit of grog, Spencer's dog bowl, Spencer's dry food, Spencer's lead, and a few other little knickknacks. And in here, actually I've got to clean this one out a bit, but it's basically my laundry liquid, my dishwashing liquid, a bit of spray oil, more spray oil, tins of tuna and salmon and bits and pieces, some more chuckses and dishwashing cloths, Barbie sauce, and the same above. Okay, in this cupboard is Debbie's clothes. In the one below it, my clothes, and down the very bottom I've got a few, down the very bottom here, I've got a few little spots for my thongs and my joggers. Over on this side, can you believe Debbie's second clothing cupboard? If it's anything like home, I think most of us blokes know that the wardrobes are 90% for the wives and girlfriends, and the other remaining 10%, if they're generous enough, is left for the blokes' clothes. So it's pretty much the same here in our little van. Okay, now we're going to move into the bathroom. We've got all the toilets. I actually cut a little broom in half. That's our little floor sweeper. All the toiletries, I won't go into it, soaps and shampoos and towels. I also store sunblock and a few other bits and pieces. And up here I've got my little toilet tablets. And I've always got a packet up here and a packet under the seat. So that way when I run out of one, I go and order another one on eBay, or I buy one at a caravan park and replace it. So I've always got at least one full packet, because I think there's about 15 tablets in there. Yeah, a nice little shower. All right. Fridge, self-explanatory. Nice big freezer. And a nice big fridge. We've all seen those. Okay, now the cupboard over here. I think this is a bit of a junk cupboard. I really could do this a bit better, but it's got all my leads. I've actually got TV to HDMI leads. I've worked out a way that I can plug my laptop into the TV and our mobile phones and watch Netflix and YouTube and other bits and pieces from our phone into our TV. TV remotes, air conditioning remotes, a couple of chargers, and all the TV bizzo. Now down here, this is my little digital screen on our charging and solar panel inputs. So as you can see here, I'm not connected to mains power. I don't connect to mains power anymore. I've got 13.2 volts of battery, I'm running 4.2 amps. I've got a few lights and bits and pieces on. At the moment, I've only got half a tank of water and my wastewater. This one isn't that very accurate. It's always got a bit of a gunky valve, so I don't think there's ever really a true ready, but I don't even worry about that. And look, on a final note, I've just picked up this little dash cam that I haven't installed yet. I've actually given it a bit of a run in the car to give it a bit of a trial. I got this little guy, Jayco dash cam. It's 4K dash cam, and I got this because it's got a front and rear dash cam. And I look, as an emergency service worker, we always turn out and respond to motor vehicle incidents. And sometimes you pull up and you see cars in the weirdest positions, and you think, what on earth happened here, and how did this car end up over here? And it just makes it so much easier to work out what happened and who's in the wrong. So I think dash cams are a good thing. This little guy has a front and rear camera. This is a bit of dash cam footage, both front and rear cameras driving around Kiama Harbour on New South Wales south coast. So that, my friends, is the tour of our little van. I think we've tweaked it fairly well right. As I said, 3 years on, we've done a lot of small and medium trips. I'm actually looking forward to a couple of big trips. I've got long service leave coming up where I'll plan to go over to WA and spend about 4 or 5 months living in this. But I think with what we've got, especially with those little gadgets that I've bought from Ryobi, I think we're going to be okay. Yeah. Okay, finally, if you like this video and you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you when I can. Please consider subscribing, liking and sharing with others. Any feedback is much appreciated, and please give this little video a like. It's good for my little channel. Alright, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you out on the road. Thank you, bye-bye.